My fiancé betrayed my trust by cheating on me, and to make things even more complicated, I've recently found out that I'm pregnant. Pretty much what the title says. My fiancé and I have been together 3 years and I love him more than anything. I know 3 years isn't that long and I've had longer relationships, but mine with him is definitely the most serious by far, and not just because he proposed. I've never loved anyone more than him, and when I fell for him it was a much stronger and intense connection than I've ever had for anyone in my life. I'm only 26, so I know I have time to find someone else, but I'm so incredibly heartbroken in ways I didn't even imagine I could break. This is by far the worst pain I've ever felt. I don't know how it happened. This was the healthiest relationship I've ever been in, and I was so excited to get married and have our child. He doesn't even know I'm pregnant, because his birthday is next month, and I wanted to surprise him. There were none of the usual signs like our relationship declining for the past several months. It was like one day the switch just flipped. I noticed he was first off like 2 weeks ago after we came home from my friend's place after hanging out. He seemed distant, but I just chalked it up to him being tired, but then he continued to be a little distant. I know his boss has been on his ass lately about a work project. He's an engineer and I thought he was just stressed about it. These past 2 weeks we haven't been having intimacy either, but that's not out of the normal because when he's really stressed, either with family stuff or work, he isn't usually in the mood. On Friday I went out of town to visit my sister and I just got home today. Originally the plan was for him to go with me, but he told me he really needed the weekend to work on his project, which I didn't find suspicious at all. He knew what day and what time I would be coming home. Yet when I got into our home the kitchen hadn't been cleaned from what was obviously a romantic dinner, and when I got to the bedroom the sheets were a mess and a woman's lingerie was on the floor by the door. And his pants and their shoes were in the hallway, very obviously hastily taken off on the way to our shared bedroom, our shared bed, our shared everything and our sacred place. It just seemed so Carell's. He knew what I would see and didn't even bother to clean up. Did he really think I'd stay? Did he really think I just wouldn't care? He's not picking up my calls, and when I texted him I realized he'd blocked me. If he was into someone else, why didn't he just say that? Why would he let me find out in the most hurtful way in the world? Even worse, I know who the girl is because she left her jewelry, and it's someone who I was insecure about when our relationship first started, but that I got over the longer we were together. I don't know what to do. I had to get out of our home, so now I'm just crying on my front lawn. I'm too mortified to call anyone close to me, and a million thoughts are running through my mind. What am I going to do with the baby? I can't even imagine trying to co-parent with him after a betrayal like this. Why did he do this? What changed? Did he get bored of me? Why wasn't I enough? Why her? Why me? What am I going to tell people? How am I ever going to trust someone again? Where am I going to live? Which of our mutual friends will choose him? Does this mean I can't be friends with his sister anymore? Just so many questions with zero explanations. I can't even put into words how soul-damaged, emotionally crushed, and absolutely wrecked I am. I'm so hurt I can't even talk about it. I can't even call my therapist. So now I'm typing it all out because I just had to tell somebody what was happening, even if it was strangers on the internet. Comment 1. I'm so sorry you're going through this. It's a deep betrayal, and it's okay to grieve. Take your time, prioritize yourself, and remember you deserve someone who values you completely. Comment 2. It's understandable to feel lost and heartbroken, but know that you're strong and will get through this. Lean on those who support you, even if it feels impossible right now. Update 1. Hey everyone, thank all much for the kind words. Sorry I haven't responded to any comments or anything, but really I was just so overwhelmed. I ended up calling my therapist, and currently I'm staying with my best friend, but just for a few days until I can get a flight to where my parents live. My therapist recommended that I leave this situation off the internet, and usually I would listen to her, but I know some of you genuinely do care to hear what happens to me, so I'm going to post the final update probably tomorrow, if I'm not too devastated, or the day after. After that, I will most likely delete my account. First thing firsts, I am keeping the baby. Where I live I'm too far along to get an abortion. The time span to get one is really short. I'm currently 2 months, and I haven't started showing. My ex-fiancé didn't notice because the birth control I take makes me not have a period. But if I'm being completely transparent, I probably would have kept this pregnancy anyway. Second, I took pictures like all of you suggested, and I'm meeting a lawyer later this week. Third, I called his sister and I have no idea what he told them about me, but I've never heard her have so much venom, like what she had on that phone call with me. I told her what happened and she wasn't shocked at all, and said in this exact wording, "Wow. You really haven't figured out why he did this to you at all, have you?" And then as she was telling me to never call anyone in their family again, I had to shout over her that I was pregnant in case she blocked me. I could hear the shocked silence and told her I would literally piss on a stick in front of her if she didn't believe me. I think she could tell from my voice that I was telling the truth, and told me that she would get her brother to meet me at the house later today to talk. And that I had to tell him I was pregnant myself and she wouldn't do that burden for me. She then abruptly hung up. His sister and I have always been close, and I remember how I used to wait all day in the hospital when she was getting treated for her breast cancer. I have no idea what could have made her hate me this much. What lies he could have told her. I just cried so much after this phone call. My best friend is going to go over with me when I talk to him and she's going to wait outside in the car. See you guys tomorrow or later this week. I'm reposting this because I've gotten some comments saying they couldn't see my update. I think it got taken down because I mentioned the abortion laws where I live. I'm not trying to push any political agenda or cause a hot topic in the comments. I'm just being truthful about the area in which I live. Sorry that I'm posting later than I said I would, but I ended up having a miscarriage because of the stress and needed time to process. Final update. When I got into our home, my fiancé was very callous and cruel. He berated me and would not let me get a word in. He screamed at me that I needed to drop the Victim Act, or else he would tell all my friends and family the truth about me. I asked how could I be playing the victim when he's the one who cheated and then let me find out in an abusive, disgusting and psychotic way. Before I get into the rest of this update, I feel like some background information is needed. Before I got with my fiancé, my hair was completely virgin. It was a brown color that looked red in the sunlight in photos that I loved, and his was pink. When we got close, I learned that it was pink in support of his sister who got diagnosed with breast cancer. About 8 months in, I decided to dye my hair pink for his sister's upcoming breast cancer surgery. Him and his entire family was touched by the gesture, and everyone ended up dyeing their hair pink before her surgery. My fiancé was especially touched because he knew how much I really liked my natural color. After his sister went into remission, we started to doing cute matching couple hair of all different colors. When we visited my friend a couple weeks ago, she was making a video of memories from over the years, because one of our friend's big 30s coming up and she plans to show it at the party. After we came home from her place, this was when I first noticed he was off. He saw a video on her computer of me with very bright red hair, which is not my natural color, even in the sunlight, which is maybe a shade red above auburn. Before I go any further, this video was from mid-2019 before we got together, and was not real dye. It was one of those non-bleach, non-damage hair waxes that come out after a single wash. In this video, I'm making out with a former male friend of mine. We were bar hopping and you can see us in the back kissing as we're walking to the next bar. Last summer, my fiancé and I dyed our hair bright red like what's on the video, and he thought that I had cheated on him because he knows my hair was virgin before I dyed it pink in support of his sister. While we were arguing, he kept telling that I had cheated first, and that my F-king hair was red, and that's how he knew that I had cheated with old male friend's name that I cut off, because we'd slept together once before I got with my fiancé. That made him uncomfortable. And that he'd saw it all on my friend's name computer. And that's why he slept with his female friend, because he'd wanted me to hurt like he did. I kept yelling at him that I had never cheated on him and had genuinely no idea what the hell he was talking about. I was so confused, upset, hurt, and angry that I started cramping in the middle of our shouting fest. My fiancé thought I was faking it until a large amount of blood started coming from private area. He called the ambulance and my friend came inside to check if I was okay, because I'd been there for a while at this point. At this point, I hadn't even gotten the chance to tell him I was pregnant, and my friend had to do so as I yelled out in agonizing physical pain. The ambulance came in 11 minutes, but by the time I reached the hospital, it was too late. My baby was gone. From there, word got out, and my friend, the one with the video, heard about everything, and she came and showed him proof that the video he was talking about was from before we were together, and taken in mid-2019. She showed me too, because up until that point I had completely forgotten about that night and had no idea what he was talking about. I then explained to him that it was just hair wax. I'm devastated about the baby. Despite everything, I truly wanted to keep it, and I feel so hollow now. So wrecked. I don't know what to do about my relationship. He has genuinely apologized to me, and I know he only did what he did because he thought I had cheated on him, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to get over this. If I'll always resent him for the miscarriage. But I still love him so much, and I still can't even imagine life without him. Before his mother learned the truth, she made a scathing Facebook post about me and my cheating, and since then, his entire family has all formally apologized to me, but I'm still getting calls from extended family members and friends who still haven't heard the truth, calling me hurtful things and telling me I deserve my miscarriage and that's what I got for trying to baby trap him. It's another kick to my already broken soul. And as of right now, my social reputation is in tatters because of the post. My fiancé, or rather ex-fiancé, wants to make one big post just addressing everything, but I honestly don't even have the energy, and I can't imagine of all this drama for all of our loved ones to see that cut me so deeply just plastered on Facebook. His mom has tried to call, but I've been declining all of them. Because also in her post she added some really nasty things she didn't like about me before she found out about the cheating that I didn't know she felt about. And I just feel really hurt about every mean thing she wrote about my personality, looks, character, depression and anxiety episodes and past. I'm currently staying with parents in an Airbnb because I felt like I had to confront everything's front on and stay here, but they wanted to be here to support me. Guys, I thought I was broken before, but I'm going to be completely candid and say that I've considering not living since the miscarriage. A part of me also feels like my relationship, which I loved more than myself, is over, which just makes me feel so sick. So many things are being said about me and all I want to do is disappear. But I know that I can't for the sake of the people I love, and I won't. Anyhow, that's the update. I don't know where my life goes from here, but it felt only fair to update you guys one last time. Now, for the next story. My boyfriend secretly scheduled and paid for a cosmetic procedure for me without my consent. What should I do? I have a mole on the outside of my vagina. It's about the size of a pencil eraser. It's never been a problem for me and I don't mind it. It's hidden in even the skimpiest of bikini bottoms, doesn't hurt or get in the way of anything, isn't lumpy, doesn't grow any weird hair, etc. It's just a harmless little bump on the side of my vulva that I've had since I was born. Even when I'm entirely naked, it isn't visible unless my legs are spread, so it's the kind of thing only me and my sex partners have ever seen. I've had an inkling that my boyfriend has never been a fan of this mole. But he won't admit that. Sometimes he'll absent-mindedly rub it between his fingers with his nose crinkled like an expression just short of disgust, but when I asked him about it, 2 different times, he insisted the not quite disgusted facial expression was unrelated. I assumed that he didn't like it, but knew it was none of his business or concern and probably didn't want to say it because he didn't want to sound rude. He's asked me once if I've ever thought about removing it, to which I replied that it's always been a part of me and I wasn't interested in removal. The problem, my birthday was a few weeks ago. I've been getting Brazilian waxes since I was a teenager, it's just my personal preference. As a birthday present, my boyfriend prepaid for almost a year's worth of waxes at the med spa I have always gone to. This seemed like a great gift, useful, thoughtful, and saves me a ton of money. This med spa does a variety of other services as well as waxing. They do tattoo removal, laser hair removal, makeup, tattoos, Botox, etc. I've had a standing appointment there every 3 weeks for years. This morning I went to my regular appointment. My waxier, who I've known for years, gushed about how kind of my boyfriend it was to call in for my services, and we went about the wax as normal. There's an oil she uses that helps to soothe the skin after the wax, and I was waiting for that to soak in when she brought out a wand that I was not familiar with. I asked her what it was for and she said the freezing. I assumed she was prepping for her next client, and stayed on the table. Then she began wiping the oil off and applied a cream directly over my mole. At this point I sat up and asked her what she was doing. Oh, this cream helps to numb the area before I freeze the mole. Then we'll cut it off, and you'll just need a stitch or 2, and a bandage, and then you'll be ready to go. We fumbled through the awkward conversation that followed, and the bottom line is that my boyfriend had paid for my mole to be removed as well, $200 without telling me. The receptionist who books the appointments assumed that I knew, and I sign a yearly waiver for all services from them, so it was basically just slipped in. The receptionist said that my boyfriend asked about the process over the phone, so he was aware that this procedure involved cutting something off my body and would involve anesthetic and stitches. Guys, I'm furious and cannot tell if my reaction is justified, or if I'm seeing red for no real reason. This feels like such a breach of my personal boundaries, not to mention disrespectful of my bodily autonomy. I know it's small, but it's plastic surgery. There is no medical backing to having this mole removed. It would be entirely cosmetic. I obviously didn't go forward with the procedure, and now I'm struggling with whether my anger is appropriate to the situation. I have not talked to him about this yet. It happened this morning and I will be seeing him this evening when I get home from work. Right now I'm thinking of breaking up with him, but feel like that may be an overreaction and can't tell if my judgment is clouded. What would be an appropriate way to address this situation? I have a small inconspicuous mole on the side of my vulva. Boyfriend isn't a fan of it, but I had no interest in getting it removed. He paid for a year's worth of Brazilian waxes that I've always gotten for my birthday, and tried to slip a mole removal procedure into my usual appointment, without telling me. I was blindsided as they were about to start. This procedure involves anesthetic, cutting the mole off, and stitches on my vagina. I am livid and feel so disrespected. Can't tell if I'm overreacting for considering dumping him. Help. Comments. Comment 1. He asked if she'd get breast implants or a nose job. Mole removal was testing her boundaries. If she'd gone through with it, his look of disgust would turn toward her breasts, then her nose then. Comment 2. It's so fucked up that the ex-BF apparently has a preference for plastic surgery in his partners, but instead of finding someone who already had those procedures done, because they wanted them, he wanted a girlfriend he could force cosmetic surgery onto. Like he only wanted a woman he could change. That type of behavior makes me sick. Update. First off, I just wanted to thank everyone for their support and validation of what I was feeling. I was second-guessing myself and feeling like I was overreacting, but after more reflection and what happened later on in the evening, I feel so vindicated in my anger. I got home and he nonchalantly asked me how my appointment went. I managed to stay calm and told him how angry I was, that he had tried to arrange for the mole to be removed without my consent knowledge, especially because I found out that he was informed while booking the appointment that it would involve anesthetic and stitches. He said that he wasn't sorry because he thought he was doing me a favor by forcing me to bite the bullet and get it done. He said the only thing that he was sorry about was signing my name on the waiver, because he knows he should not have done that. Record scratch. Wait, what? At my appointment, my waxier had said something along the lines of, "But you signed the waiver," when I was blindsided by her prepping for the mole removal. She was confused that I was not aware of the mole removal plan. I had assumed she was talking about the waiver I had signed just a few weeks ago, that I have to sign every year for my services performed at the med spa. I was in a hurry to get out of there, so I didn't press further. Just made it clear that I did not want a mole removal, and gathered my clothes and left. As it turns out, she was not talking about the annual general waiver. When my boyfriend booked the appointment, a waiver was emailed over, which he signed as me and sent back to them. We're in a South American country where plastic surgery is extremely common. I am the only woman in my office without breast implants. I was born in America and haven't quite subscribed to this aspect of the culture, so things are a lot more lax here than I imagine they are in the US. So not only did he schedule and pay for plastic surgery on my vagina, he forged my signature on a legal document giving permission for it to be done. There is no coming back from this, and I told him so. He started crying and saying that he just wanted me to be the most beautiful I could be. Thankfully, I was too angry to cry in front of him, and I just told him to leave. He packed some clothes and I put the rest of his belongings in a detached garage that he has a key to. I made him leave his house keys and told him that the garage locks would be changed by the end of the week. I own the house and am changing the locks on the doors this evening except for the garage. I'm giving him this week to clear out the rest of his things from there. I have him blocked on social media and feel very refreshed, like a weight has been lifted. I'm sure I will be hurting later and missing him, but this showed me a side of him that I absolutely cannot live with. I may not be as tan or as smooth or as busty as all the women around here, but I deserve better. I know that much. And now my mole and I are going to settle down with a bottle of wine and download Tinder. Thank you again for everything. My boyfriend was unapologetic for arranging a surprise plastic surgery appointment that he knew I did not want, and it came to light that he had forged my signature on a waiver for this procedure. I dumped him, kicked him out of my house, and plan on living a long, happy life with my mole. Thank you all.